everyone likes their 335, but maybe the style doesn't suit everyone, so what are the alternatives? We've found another 4 great options, I think. Some of those I'd definitely prefer to play and be seen playing than the ubiquitous ES-335. It's not a guitar I'm ever likely to be seen playing on stage. And to be honest, it's not a guitar that I ever pick up to play for fun. I'd keep this and play this over a 335 any day of the week. But everyone's got to have a 335, haven't they? Which one would you prefer? Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. So this week, we're finally going to do part 2 of a series that I started about a year ago, probably. ES-335, The Rivals. Do you remember? Where basically what we're doing is we're finding alternatives that you might like instead of the ubiquitous ES-335. This of course is the Epiphone inspired by Gibson version of the ES-335. And, you know, as is normal for this channel, we're looking at affordable versions rather than ones that cost several thousands of pounds. So, yeah, what we did in part 1 is we thought, well, you know, everyone likes their 335, but maybe the style doesn't suit everyone, so what are the alternatives? So in part 1, we looked at the Epiphone Sheraton, the Casino, and the other one that I've forgotten already. Oh yeah, the Riviera. Yeah, the Riviera. The Riviera. This time, you know what? We've got 4 guitars to compare and look at, and you know, compare and contrast. I think. Yeah, these ones. The Gretsch G2622, Guild Starfire 1, Hofner Verythin, and the Squire by Fender Starcaster. Now this one's the reason that I've been putting this show off, to be honest with you, because this developed a wiring glitch when I was reviewing it ages ago. And I thought, well, I better fix that first. Well, I haven't done that, but I thought, let's just do it anyway and see what happens. It might work. There might be some repair work needed in this film, or I might just ignore it and just play it on one pickup. Let's see what happens. So these guitars are all affordable versions of the originals. These are all around about 500 quid or less. So yeah, affordable. What ties these together is they're all versions of original designs that were made back in the 60s and 70s in the case of the Starcasters. They're all original designs, quite clearly inspired by Gibson, I suppose, if what Gibson says is true, that the 335, they claim it was the first commercially available semi-acoustic guitar. 1960 this was released, introduced. So today's going to be more about how they compare sound-wise and feel-wise, okay? We're going to go into a fair amount of detail. You know, feel and weight is important, and sound. So we'll do the neck profiles and measurements, and, you know, we'll weigh them and stuff, and we'll hear them a lot, hopefully. I haven't done that bit yet, who knows? But if you want to get into the deeper, nerdy detail stuff, check out the individual reviews. All the links are in the description box. There we'll get close up on the frets and the technical specs and stuff like that, you know, and look inside them and that. I'm not going to do that today. We'll crack on. It's about feel and sound, okay? Which of these guitars suits you? It's going to take a while, of course, probably half an hour or so. So if you haven't got that amount of time on your hands, all the timestamps are in the description box. So you can skip forward to, you know, listen to one particular guitar or whatever. If, however, you've got a little bit of time on your hands, go and grab a cup of tea, some biscuits, or a snack of your choice, or a drink of your choice, and come back and join me as we get stuck in to ES-335, The Rivals, Part 2. Let's do it. So of course we'll start by having a rundown of this one here, the Epiphone inspired by Gibson ES-335, about 550 quid. And for those that are unsure, a quid is a British pound, okay? So 550 British pounds, or I think that equates to about 670 odd dollars, is what one of these will cost you today. Obviously the Gibson version's about 17,000 quid or something like that. So we generally go for the Epiphone inspired by Gibson range when we can, because we can have lots of guitars instead of just one. So, however, I did lavish quite a lot of additional quids on this one, about 500. If you follow the channel, you'll know I made a big series on this, a 5-part series. Links in the description box, where we upgraded the thing. We changed all the hardware for posh, lightweight stuff, and we changed the pickups. These are Monty's PAFs, and this is a Monty's wiring loom. And I did that over, I think, 5 parts, and made quite a mess of it, to be honest with you. We had a couple of goes at the wiring until we worked out how to do it properly. So that's quite a laugh. If you fancy making fun of me, check that out later, you know, or when you're laid up in bed with flu or something, you know, and you've got about 5 hours to spare or to while away, to waste. Check that out. But yeah, so this has had, you know, a fair amount of attention lavished on it. Now, I'm looking forward to taking a fresh look at this today, and a fresh listen, obviously, to see, you know, a year down the line, if I still think it was worth it. Now I've maybe learned a little bit more about stuff. And I was probably a little bit biased then, because I just put all the effort into it and spent that money on it. So it'd be good to see if this still stacks up. Yeah. And we have the Gretsch, a wonderful looking, this is a G2622 from the Streamliner collection. This costs, it's a bit cheaper, this one. This is about 400 quid or about $500 you can get these for. And clearly based on the Country Gentleman, which was released in 1962, I believe. And most famously, I suppose, used by George Harrison. Wonderful looking guitar, this. Guild Starfire. Again, 1960, same year that the 335 was released. This one was released. This is the Starfire 1, so it's from the Newark Street collection, the affordable range that Guild do. Again, like this is 500 quid guitar, around about 500 quid, $600. Wonderful value. And the Hofner Verythin, again, 1960 this was released. So there's a lot of, they all came out in 1960. I wonder who copied who. Gibson obviously claimed to be the first. But anyway, this range, again, is very affordable. This particular one is, I think, a UK exclusive, cheap. It's a stain. They call this a stain. You can see the matte finish and two knobs. Different inlays. This one's about 300 quid. The contemporary range is about 550 quid, $670. Again, links in Reverb if you want to check out what's available to you wherever you are. But this one, I like this. This is, yeah, well, Joe Strummer played one of these in the 101ers prior to the Clash, which is kind of enough for me, really. And last but not least, the Fender Starcaster, or in this case, the Squire by Fender Starcaster, the affordable version. This was 1976, this was released. Yeah, very 70s, isn't it? In design, quirky design, and it's got a flair to it, hasn't it, shall we say? And colour, 70s brown. I love it personally. Again, you know, a hugely affordable guitar. This is the classic Vibe one, which is about 400 quid, $500. They do an Affinity version as well, and some kind of modern designs as well that are even cheaper than this. But yeah, this is, I suppose, the vintagey correct one. The good quality guitars, Squires. Wiring's a bit iffy on this, but we'll have a look at that. That wobbly knob might be that. Johnny Greenwood played one of these in Radiohead. And on OK Computer, I think, on their, was that their first album? Not a massive Radiohead fan, but he played one anyway, so yeah. So let's compare weights. 335 first. That weighs in at, oops, can't see, just over 8 pounds, or 3.65 kilos. And the Gretsch, this is a lot lighter. £5, 15 ounces, 2.69 kilos. This might be the choice if you've got a bad back. Guild, here we go. £7, 3 ounces, 3.28 kilos. They're very thin. £6, 11 ounces. It's just over 3 kilos. And the Starcaster. £7, 9 ounces. 3.43 kilos. There you go. Right, I'm going to just start with how they feel. Feels like a 335, so it's big and bulky. to be honest, not my first choice or even second or third choice of guitar to play, say, at home for practice, for comfort. I could never imagine myself playing one of these on stage anyway, to be honest with you. I think I should be quite frank and say I'm not really a fan of 335s anyway. But everyone's got to have a 335, haven't they? Well, maybe, maybe not. So this is, yeah, you know, well, it's only, well, it's £8, wasn't it? It's not heavy, but you know, feels like a thing. It's got that Epiphone D to the neck, that shape, and it's quite slim. So it's definitely what you'd call a slim taper. Let's just hear what this sounds like unplugged, shall we? What chord shall we use? We'll use the G and the D and the A, I think, for this sequence. It sounds a lot better now than it did before I replaced the standard bridge and tailpiece. Yeah, it sounds all right. The Gretsch, really light. It's really light. In fact, I checked that they do call this a centre block guitar because there's not much of a centre block in this. There's some bracing, basically. If you check out the individual review, we take the pickups up and you'll see. But it's really light. The necks are probably very close to the Epiphone. It didn't feel a lot different to the Epiphone at all. It's got more of a pleasing zing to it, I think. Unplugged, at least. Guild, very similar neck, similar weight to the 335. So it sounds like unplugged. That's quite pleasing. The Hofner. It's the neck really leaps out. It leaps out as being, whoa, that's chunky. It's got a deep V to it, sort of a V. And for bar chords, it feels uncomfortable if you want a bar like that. For that, however, it's perfect. I'm doing that more and more these days. For years and years, all I did was that. They were all the chords that I knew, to be honest with you, you know. All you need, isn't it? If you learn those, you're away. But as I get older, I'm learning more stuff, and I'm doing that more. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it if you're gonna do that. That's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable, that. Anyway, this is what it sounds like unplugged. I just remembered as well, it's got no dots. Well, it has got dots there, but not there. So you've got to look in a different place. Yeah. It's quite off-putting, that. It's got life to it though, isn't it? Sounds all right. And the Starcaster. It's an offset. It's much more comfortable sitting down. Nicely balanced. Neck's maple as well on this, obviously, so it's quite different. It's quite a uniform, well, it's completely uniform, in fact, between there and there. But as you might be able to see, it sort of gets a little bit fatter up at the first fret and then again down here on the 12th. So it's comfortable, it's nice. I mean, Squires always have nice necks anyway. Unplugged, it sounds like this. Very pleasant. Plugged in. Princeton 65 today, as usual. On the board, I've got a soul food on the board. I've got a big Muff on the board. I may use them later. If I do, you'll see. But predominantly, or by and large, all of this is done clean. Okay, with the volumes backed off a little bit. I'm starting off with them around about 7, and then, you know, I may turn up the wick. Again, knob cam down here, you should be able to see what I'm doing. I'll try and show you what I'm doing, but this is really just to give you a general idea of the overall vibe that these guitars give. So let's have a listen. So while I'm just laying down this loop, let's have a quick look at the neck profiles and measurements. There's a lot of info to get on here, so I hope you've got your reading glasses handy. Should be able to see here, it's not a lot of difference between the Epiphone, the Gretsch and the Guild. They're all, yeah, fairly similar. Hofner, obviously you can see that's got quite a different neck profile, and it's a lot meatier up at the first fret. And the Squire Starcaster is the slimmest of the lot. There you go. They all sound good, don't they? They all sound good. To be fair, they probably all sound better than that. But it's quite difficult to play, well, 5 guitars back to back, same rig, same settings, same idea, and do them all justice. So bear in mind that, you know, if you spend some time dialing them in and playing to their strengths, you know, it'll be better. Check out all the individual reviews. You'll find that I explore each pickup setting and, you know, muck around with the tone and volume controls on each of those as well, which I didn't do there. To be fair, I pretty much stuck on the bridge pickup on them. I did muck around a little bit and switch, but I didn't find it anything especially inspiring. So I kind of went back to the bridge straight away and just carried on doing that thing that I was doing there. In part 1, I used metaphors to describe or try and describe the guitar's personalities. We won't go there in this one, but what I thought, yeah, maybe a word to try and sum each guitar up. The word that springs to mind for the 335 is, well, there's a few. I'll try and narrow it down. It's that word, isn't it? Ubiquitous or everyman. Common, I suppose. It's I don't find it especially inspiring, a 335. It is a do-it-all kind of workhorse, semi-acoustic. It doesn't do it for me particularly. It's not a guitar I'm ever likely to be seen playing on stage. And to be honest, it's not a guitar that I ever pick up to play for fun. The Guild here, closest of all of these to the 335 in feel, look. The word that I would use to sum the Guild up is surprising. In fact, I was surprised to remember that it's actually got coal splits on it that I'd completely forgotten about. But that's not why it's surprising. It's surprising because it is surprisingly versatile. It's got a little bit more character to it than the 335 for me. If you check out the individual review I did on this, you'll find I'm probably as close as I'm ever likely to get shredding in the play-out jam. I had a lot of fun with this. I piled loads of fuzz on and stuff. It did that really well. And it's got a nice kind of zing to it as well, as hopefully you heard today. Yeah, I like this guitar. Surprising. My word for the Gretsch is creative. It's a guitar that I can imagine writing songs on if I ever had time. You'd pick it up and it would inspire you to do something different. It's a very lightweight guitar. It's very easy to just pick up and go all muck around with and put down. Look, it's, you know, it's, what was it? That's less than £6, wasn't it? Great guitar. Like the Casino in part 1. That was my favourite. That's my favourite, the Casino. There's part 1. I'm pointing up there. There's part 1. Check that out. The Gretsch would be my second favourite. The Casino comes with P90s already loaded. The Gretsch here needs some new pickups, I think. New pickups and new wiring, and it would really be fantastic. I was going to put those Seymour Duncan Fat Cats in this, but I ended up putting them in the Squire Mustang instead. So I must get something else for this. The good news is, a few people have asked, incidentally, these pickups from the Gretsch, and the same with the Guild, incidentally, they look like the old kind of Diamond style or whatever they're called. These are full-size humbuckers, okay? No problem. You can swap these out with any full-size humbucker. So no problem there. I'm going to do that with this guitar. I'm going to keep this one because I really like this guitar. I'd say from this bunch, this Gretsch is my favourite, probably. It's a close call with some of those, but I think probably the Gretsch. I think it's probably because it is so easy to pick up. And yeah, cool guitar. And the Hofner. It's just cool, isn't it? It's just a cool guitar. And this one in particular, there are still some of these in the UK, I think. Check the Reverb link, because this was the cheapy one. This was like a 300 quid guitar. And it's worth, I'd keep this. I'd keep it just to hang on the wall because it looks so cool, okay? But I'd also keep the play as well because it is a fun guitar to play. That neck profile is different, and I suppose it'll encourage me to stop barring and to do that more, because I need to practice doing that a little bit more. But it's just a cool guitar. It sounds quite distinctive. It did actually, thinking about it, it did inspire me to try something different, which I don't know if you noticed, but I actually played a tiny little bit of slide on this today, which I've never done before. It's the first time I've ever done that. And it sounded all right. It was like, okay, good. So that's a good thing, isn't it? That you know, any guitar that encourages you to take a few risks, I suppose. Yeah, very cool guitar. I'll definitely keep this one. It's not going anywhere. So, but you know, you might want to see if you can get one of these cheap ones. The contemporary one, worth checking out as well. That's got the bonus of having fret markers, which is helpful. But I'm keeping this, so you can't have this one, all right? And the Starcaster is original, isn't it? It's an original design. It's just a shame that when manufacturers come up with original designs, they don't really catch on. And everyone goes, "No, we want a Strat, please." So, but I love it. This was only made from 1976 to 1982. I'm very pleased that they're reissuing them and that Squire are reissuing them. And this classic vibe it's a fantastic guitar. It sounds great. I assure you that both pickups sound great. It's a shame you can't hear that today. But check out the individual review. You will hear the neck pickup. This, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix this and I'm going to keep it. And one day you might actually see me playing this one on stage. It's unlikely, to be honest with you, I would ever play a semi-acoustic on stage, the sort of stuff that I do. But yeah, it's a great guitar, this. I liked it. One of my favourite sounding guitars on this bunch, I think. Again, I like them all, but I'd keep this and play this over a 335 any day of the week. Yeah. We've found another 4 great options, I think. Some of those I'd definitely prefer to play and be seen playing than the ubiquitous ES-335. But it's not all about me, is it? It's about you. What do you think? Which one would you prefer? Is it a 335? Is it an alternative? Have you ever played a 335? If you haven't and you're thinking about getting one because everyone's got one or everyone says you've got to have one, I do urge you to try one first, because they are big and uncomfortable. Well, I think they're uncomfortable. They're not, you know, they're not a great guitar to sit at home mucking around on because it's a big, you know, if you think a Les Paul's uncomfortable, yeah, maybe this takes it to the next postcode. Which is probably why they designed the ES-339, which at some point I expect we'll have a look at. But anyway, for now, yeah, I urge you to try one before you buy one. Certainly if you're thinking about getting a Gibson because everyone says they're brilliant, at least try an Epiphone first, in case you discover, like me, it isn't really your thing. This hasn't been played for the last year since I made part 1. I'll probably keep it, but you know, it'll probably hang around until I find another excuse to dig it out. I mean, it's difficult for me to play all of these guitars, obviously, but I'll be honest, this hasn't had a second look. So, yeah, I have decided today that the 335 isn't my 335. I'll go for the Casino, part 1. I'll go for that Gretsch. They're my thing, I think. So that's it for now. Don't forget to check out all the individual links. Check out part 1. Check out the Reverb links as well. See what's available and affordable in your part of the world. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. Come back next week, same time, same place, and find out what on earth we're up to then. I shall look forward to it. Cheers for now. Ta-da.